Hello and welcome to my tropical style garden here in the UK. It's near the end of May now, and I thought I'd do something a little bit different in this video. I was going through my phone and I found some footage of the garden from 2015 in June. Now, it's not the best footage because, to be fair, I didn't realise 9 years later I'd be putting it on a YouTube video. So I'm going to put that footage up, and I'm also going to put some clips up of what some of the plants look like now to what they look like then, and you can sort of see how the garden's evolved over that time. So here you go. So this was the border nearest to my house before we built an extension to the back of the property. These plants you can see now right up to the Fatsia polycarpa have all got removed for that building work, and you can see this is the Edward Needham form, which has now grown into this beautiful specimen, which is just pushing out a brand new load of foliage. So this was quite a shady area, and still is, to be fair. This Schefflera taiwanniana is no longer there. It died when I transplanted it a bit bigger than that. This was and is now my Fatsia Annalise, which is now sold as Fatsia Camouflage. This was a video clip shown in autumn last year, and you can see the size that's gained over the years. Going around, most of this planting has changed now. It's mainly quite mature shrubs. The Trachycarpus has stayed, the Edward Needham has stayed, and a few others. But at this point I used to grow quite a lot of more tender plants. So there's an Enset Montboliardo there you could just see, and there's another one further around in the border. This Dicksonia Antarctica had probably been in about a year at this point, and I'll show you now what it looks like as of present time. Now turned into a glorious specimen with another larger tree fern behind it. It's done really well over the years with minimum protection, to be fair. This Trachycarpus was moved over the other side. It's now probably 4 or 5 times the size. Here we have a very young Schefflera rhododendrofolia, which now is probably about 10 foot tall. So moving round slowly to the left, I had pretty much just shrubs, because this was a very shady side, shaded out by the fence, and I had long straight borders down either side back then with a large rectangle lawn, because I loved to play football out there with my kids back then, and they were a lot younger, and it served the purpose for that. But now I changed it. I've added the circular lawn. I feel like the planting goes more around me and sort of involves me into the garden a lot more. Whichever direction I look, the sort of plants are surrounding me. There's a lot more contrast into the borders, a lot more foliage, shapes, and generally I'm so much more happy with it now. It is the shape that it is, because this is what it looked like back then. I used to have wooden decking. Don't know why I grew that willow in a pot. No idea whatsoever. This was the seating area on the decking. Some of these plants, like the Cordyline Torbay Dazzler and that, later got planted into the borders further down. And to be fair, back then I used to like to sit down here and chill out just as much as I do some of my areas now. But I do feel that from this point the garden has moved on in the right direction. Right, so in 2017, after most of the structural building work had been done on the back of the extension, I decided that I would change the shape of the rectangle lawn. The kids were getting a bit older, and I wanted the garden to be more the sort of shape that I dreamt it would be. So at first I put these circular cobbled edgings in, and then I went to work on the paths at the back. So first I did this path going round to my sort of cabin type summer house thing. I did a sort of semicircle cobbled path there to go round to the rear patio, and then I put in this cobble path to link the two together. I always wanted it to be, and I still am trying to keep this circular theme in the garden, hence why you can sort of see with some of these new pots, I'm always trying to think, does that colour, does that shape, does that plant keep the balance in the garden? I don't always get it right, and I totally admit that. So then I did this path so I could then link round that side to the seating area, and then I had a few plants here. I had a large Camerops humilis in a pot, which is now planted there, and back then I planted quite a few more tenders, because when you start, obviously these plants are very expensive, so you may as well put in cheaper plants like dahlias, cannas, and them kind of plants which are going to fill gaps. You can multiply some of these plants. They're a cheap way for filling the spaces until the bigger palms, the bigger shrubs mature to how you want them. So now it's 2024. The garden is still evolving. I still have other projects that I want to do and other plants to put in, and I love that about it. It keeps it interesting. It keeps me really wanting to keep pushing it and seeing how sort of nice and the atmosphere I can create in this garden. So what I would say is, by putting these paths in, I feel like it gave me the sense of journey that I wanted. Before, the big rectangular lawn, it served the purpose. It was brilliant for the young kids. They got to play around on it. And now, with the paths, I've got that sense of journey. I can't see the whole garden in one go. The summer house is blended into the background. The gazebo's blended into the background. It makes you think, what's down there? And that just makes a garden more interesting, in my opinion. So the garden's going to move on. I'm going to keep finding new projects for it, and I am creating a few right at this moment. So keep watching, and we'll see where it goes from here. I'd love to hear in the comments of anything that your garden has done and changed and how you want it to evolve. And I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.